told you yesterday about plans to close the Sidney Sugars plant in northeast Montana.
The company says interest in growing sugar beets there is waning, but farmers contend there's more to the story. Michael Anthony explains.
For nearly a century, sugar beets have been the lifeblood of Sidney and Richland County. That lifestyle took a hit this week when it was announced that Sidney Sugars would be closing this April. This was devastating news for Houston Scarborough, who has hauled sugar beets and helped many farmers around the region.
That I've got a lot of friends right now that are unemployed and don't know what they're going to do. My neighbor, he's been a sugar beet farmer his entire life. His dad has grown sugar beets his entire life, and his grandfather grew sugar beets his entire life. Now they don't even have a factory to haul that into. That's almost a 100-year-long legacy that just disappears.
The closing also has severe consequences for the city of Sidney.
I mean, it's going to be a direct hit. There ain't no question about that.
For those outside of Richland County, this announcement came as a surprise, but for locals, the writing has been on the wall for years. Jeff Bieber, president of the Montana Dakota Beet Growers Association, said negotiations with Sidney Sugars' parent company have resulted in a lower profit margin for farmers.
The growers have had tens of millions of dollars taken from their beet payments in these contract negotiations.
Sidney Sugars' chief operating officer, Stephen Roseno, said that the closing was because farmers aren't growing enough beets, but Scarborough disagrees.
They have pushed us out, and they just put hundreds of people and their families out on their rear ends so that they can turn a bigger paycheck at the end of the year.
We've reached out to Sidney Sugars for further comment, but so far have not heard back. In Sidney, I'm Michael Anthony, reporting for your news leader.
Sidney Sugars opened in 1925.